All right, it is early and it is dark out here. Got an early start today. We had a cool front come through last night. Not really a cold front, just kind of a wind shift. Dropped the temperatures just a little bit. Got a northwest wind today. Right now it's not too strong, maybe 5 to 10. And I'm in this little cove hoping to catch some fish on topwater. Now I'm really probably pushing the issue because water temperatures right now are 58 degrees and that's just a little bit cold for topwater baits. But I'm gonna make a quick pass here just to let the sun get up a little bit, let the skies brighten, see if I can catch one or two nice speckled trout on topwater bait. Got my Mirror Sea Dog and just kind of feels right. I hope it happens. Water's really up right now. But this northwest wind, I'm sure, is going to make it fall. This is kind of a long shot, I got to admit. I don't know what the water clarity is. I have heard some mullet jumping just since I stopped in here. I don't know if there's grass around. Looks like it's going to be a gloomy, overcast day. Good topwater day, just wish this water temp was a little bit higher. All right, I'm not seeing a whole lot of bait. And I haven't snagged any grass with this topwater, so I'm gonna run it to the back of this cove, see if I can find something that looks a little bit better. All right, so I came way back in this cove, and I definitely like what I see. Water's 4 feet deep. I suspect this cove would be unfishable in normal water conditions, but since that water's up, it's kind of flooded this grass flat. Oh, I'm seeing lots of surface activity. I think this is about to happen. Oh, there's a swipe. There he is. There he is. There he is. First cast. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's a good trout. My goodness, that's a good fish. Oh yeah, that's a really good trout. There he goes. Look at this fish. Look at this fish. Oh, I wish I had my net handy. He's barely hooked. He's got one hook. He's got the back hook. Look at that. Stay on, big boy. That's the biggest trout I've caught in a minute if I get him in. Caught on topwater, 58 degree water. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. I think he's about to give up the ghost. Let's see. I will 100% release this fish. I don't keep trout this size. Stay on, boy. Stay on, big boy. Now he's just hooked in the head. Don't shake. I feel you got another shake in you. Oh, look at this speckled trout. Look at this fish. Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful, beautiful speckled trout. That fish may be 4 pounds. That's the biggest trout I've caught in many, many months. First cast back in this cove. Let me get the pliers. He's hooked better than I thought. I don't want this fish to die. Look how fat that fish is. Look at that. Look at him. I tell you, I didn't think he was that big when he hit at all. All right, that's so awesome. That made my day already. First fish of the day and my day is made. Nothing like topwater trout fishing when these big boys are around. Man, I love it. Let's see how long this fish is. All right, this fish is 24 inches. He's fat too. I'm betting you this may be a 5-pound fish. I gotta weigh him. All right, he's 4 pounds, 8 ounces. So 4.5 pounds. All right, we gotta revive this boy and let him go. Come on, go ahead, kick. There you go. There you go.
This episode of Marsh Man Masson brought to you by Puglia Sporting Goods.
All right, I cannot tell you how excited I am. I could literally just go home now. My day is made to catch a fish like that. It's the biggest trout I've caught. Man, it's got to be at least a year, maybe 2 years, 4.5 pounder. And I caught it my favorite way on a topwater bait. Oh man, I'm excited. I think my theory was proved out just by that one fish. This water's up, covered this grass flat, and these big trout have come in here to feed. There's lots of bait in here. Water's gorgeous. I don't think that's the last big fish in here. We've got a heavy cloud cover, perfect conditions for topwater baits, except that water temperature being down a little bit, but it doesn't affect those big fish as much as it does the little fish. They will feed with that water temperature down. I gotta see if I can catch another one. I gotta tell you, when that fish hit, I did not think he was that big. He didn't hit like a big fish. It seemed like a smaller fish prior to him missed it, and that got him excited, and he came up and smashed it. Whew. Oh, right by the, oh, look at that, right by the boat. That was not a big fish, but I bet he was a keeper. That wind is picking up. Good thing I'm in this protected cove. All right, I've definitely drifted out of the bait, not seeing anything to keep me excited, and not getting any more blow-ups. So I think probably with this water up, those fish are closer to these shorelines. I'm gonna run back up this cove and work either one of these shorelines, see if I can get some bites that way. So I'm gonna make a pass not right up on this shoreline, but just a little bit off. Definitely back in the bait. All right, so that last drift down that one shoreline, I didn't get a bite, not a blow up. Saw lots of bait, lots of grass, pretty water. Felt like I should have gotten a fish. So my working hypothesis now is that that she-dog is just too loud and obnoxious with these low water temperatures. Like I said, it's only 58 degrees. So I've made the switch to a matrix mullet, which is a more subtle bait, not nearly as loud, not as big, but I've had great success on this bait on days when I can't catch a fish on a she-dog. So I'll make a quick pass down this other shoreline and see what happens. And given the quality of that one fish I caught, it's really difficult for me to leave this. I feel like I need to give it a little while and see if I can catch another one that big. There's bait all around me. Oh, he missed it. Oh my goodness, that was a great explosion. Oh man, I hate to miss that fish. Man, that's the thing with topwater. You get these big lulls and one fish will just give you a heart attack. All right, good sign for the matrix mullet. All right, there he is. There he is. That's a good trout. Not nearly as big as the last, but he came all the way out the water to hit this bait. That's a fish that's coming home if I get him in the boat. Oh yeah, oh yeah. About a 16-inch fish. I don't think he's 17. All right, boy, fight's over. Time for fighting is done. All right, so it's 2 hits on the matrix mullet that I don't think I would have gotten on that she-dog. I'm glad I made the switch.
This episode of Marsh Man Masson brought to you by Matrix Shad, and by Fitzgerald Fishing, and by Cito New Orleans, and by Versamax Quartz, and by Death Grip Jig Heads.
So I just realized something. Only a moron fishes treble hook baits without sunglasses on. I need to change that right now. So a friend of mine was just fishing a bass tournament a few weeks ago with his dad, throwing jerk baits. One of them hooked a bass, and his dad went to net it. Just as he did, the fish threw the bait, and one of the hooks came up and hit him right in the eye. Now he said his dad is always fanatical about wearing sunglasses, but it was first thing in the morning, hardly any light at all. It was their first stop, and he hadn't thought about it yet. And look, I've done that many times, including today, but it's just foolish. Gotta have that eye protection, even on cloudy days like today. These are the bad days because you forget about it a lot. All right, I think I'm gonna make one more pass in here. I'm not setting the world on fire by any stretch. I'm getting a few blow-ups each drift, just enough to kind of keep me doing it, but some other stuff is starting to call my name, so I think this is gonna be my last drift, depending on what happens here. Oh. Right by the boat. Why didn't you hit it earlier? All right, so I got a couple of fish on top, mission accomplished, but I think I'm gonna run back in the marsh. Definitely kind of got trout on the brain today. Go see if I can find any trout in any bayous. May end up targeting some reds as well, but I want to put a few trout in the box first. We'll see. All right, so remember how I told you that the water was up? Well, it's still up, but we got this northwest wind, plus we've got a falling tide, so that's making the water just race out of here. So I'm just jogging along in this bayou, heading into the current, spot locking here and there, and making some casts in productive looking areas. Throwing a holy jolly matrix shad on a 3/8 ounce death grip jig head. There is some grass in here, but I'm kind of throwing right to the edge of the grass, and so far it hasn't been a problem. If it gets to be, I'll switch to a weedless setup. Nice little 3-way coming up here. I'll definitely spend some time on it. Oh, there's a fish. There's a fish. That could be a trout. Oh. We'll never know. Hook my own tail. Oh, there's a fish. There's one. Feeling trout-like. Could be a little red, though. Yep, little red. I don't think he's going to make the cut, but we're going to put him on the tape just to see. He's borderline, maybe 15 and a half. 15 and a half. Blue tail, definitely feeding. Beautiful fish, just not big enough. Oh, there's a fish. There's a fish. That's a speckled trout. There we go. Speckled trout, that's what we came for. It's not a bad fish, I tell you what. That's not a bad trout from back here. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at him. That's a nice 19-inch fish at least. That's why we came back here. Man, that's a good fish. Really fat fish. Look at him. 19-inch fish, maybe 20 inches. We're going to put him on the tape. He is 19 inches. Nailed it. Oh, there's a fish. Come on up, trout. Come on up, trout. Not a trout, a rat red. I found the redfish nursery. Where is your big brother? Well, see you around. Man, look at this water eddying up here. This is just a beautiful bend in this bayou. There's got to be some fish here. I'm gonna take my time and work this over thoroughly. This is when that spot lock is worth its weight in gold. Just slowly and methodically work over a place like this. So this is a new bayou to me. I've never fished it. I did some map study last night and I found this bayou and a few others. And of course, when I'm looking at those maps, I look for bayous that are dark colored. It's an indication that at least at some point in time, they had clean water. Doesn't mean it's gonna be clean when I get here, but actually this one is pretty clean. And I got a falling tide and I'm fishing into the tide so I can work my bait naturally back with the current. Oh, there's a fish. There's a fish. I knew there had to be one right here. Good trout. All right. And he's not a lone soldier. There's got to be some more down there. Conditions are just too good. He took it deep too. Look at that. Tells you he's definitely feeding. He definitely wanted it. Say whew, dude. You weren't getting off. Bad news for you. Good news for me. There's one. Nice trout, another trout. Back to back. Back to back. Man, our fall fishing is just so good here. It's just so easy. You cover some water, you're gonna find some fish. Just the way it is. Let's see if they got any more. I promise you they do. There he is. There he is. All right, good trout. There he is, good fish. Here we go. Back to back to back, 3 in a row. Good school trout, maybe 14 inches. Good eaters. There's a fish. All right, there we go. Four in a row. There's one. There he is. Awesome, so awesome. He's a little bit nicer fish, maybe 17 inches or so. Chunky, chunky speckled trout. Boy, they're taking it deep too. Getting hooked really well. There he is. There he is. Nice trout, yes. Ho, 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 ho. Lucky to get him. Big boy, nice to have you aboard. Welcome to the G3. So a good little flurry of action at this spot that seems to have now died. Not terribly uncommon. I always wonder in those moments, are there fish still there? They just quit feeding. Did I kind of fish out the school? Do I need another school to kind of run through here? You just never know what the right call is. Seen it so many times where you can just sit here and wait. Another school will come through, you pick off 4 or 5 from it, then another lull, then another school. Before long, you get your limit. Seen other times where you wait and nothing ever shows up again. And I'm kind of not a terribly patient angler. I like to keep moving and keep finding feeding fish. So I think I'll make one more cast here and then move on in this bayou. Now I'm not saying I'm not gonna hit this spot again on the way out, because I certainly might. There's gotta be some fish at other bends in this bayou. Guaranteed. Typically when you decide that's your last cast, that's when you get another hit. Yep, yep. Oh, another trout. Well, that's gonna make it hard to leave. I don't know, my line got wrapped around my rod tip. That was pretty awkward. There we go. Good thing I got him in. Well, now I can't leave. I have to make another cast. That was almost on cue, wasn't it? My trained pet. All right, I could quite possibly sit here and round out my limit, but what fun would that be? I like finding new fish, and I'm confident I can today just because the conditions are so good. So I'm gonna move on up this bayou and see what else it holds. Gotta have some more trout, probably some more rat reds as well. Maybe even a bass or two, who knows? Let's see what this Trenasse has. Some beautiful water draining out of this Trenasse. I mean, the water in this bayou is not bad, but boy, it's pretty coming out of here. Really pretty. Prettier than my second grade girlfriend. All right, I see a really good crossing up ahead. Lots and lots of mixing, moving water. Holds a lot of promise. Man, all this water pulling out this marsh just looks so good. I feel like this bayou has pretty water, but man, when you see it coming out of this marsh like that, sorry, buddy, I interrupt your day. I'll try and be more quiet. Well, this intersection doesn't look as good as I thought it did. It's really too wide. I'm gonna make a few casts in it, but I'm not as encouraged as I was when I saw it from back there. There's a fish. There's a fish. Come on, big boy. All right. First legal red of the day. That's a pig. That's a big guy. I'm not gonna keep him. He's too big. It's probably a 20, 21 inch fish. On a slow day, I might keep him, but not today. All right, time for a little lunch break. I'm getting starving. Here we are 2 days after Thanksgiving, so what better to bring on a fishing trip than Thanksgiving leftovers? Got some honey baked ham. Really good. All right, I'm revived and refreshed and ready to catch some more fish. Thank you to the Honey Baked Ham Company and also to my sister who forgot her leftovers at my house. So while I was eating, I just kind of let myself drift and I came back upon this intersection. That's the bayou that our fish coming in here. That's another bayou I can take. Looks to be a little bit wider than this bayou. So I got a decision to make. Do I go with the sure thing, I know there's fish in this bayou, or do I go with my intrigue and see what I can find in this bayou? I think I'm gonna go with the latter, why not? Let's go in there and see what we can find. But I'm gonna stick with the same color, that holy jolly. This is just a beautiful day. I mean, if every day was this way, there would be no fish left. We'd catch them all. There's a fish. That is right where he should be. I think it's a red. He's actually a red fish. He is another rat red. Right in this little intersection here. Ooh, the fish is cold. Go ahead, little boy. Get out there and grow. Bite me next year. Ooh, good fish. Good bite. There he is. What are you, another rat red? No, yeah you are. You're another red. Another rat red. Man, this bayou's full of them, huh? It's a good omen for next spring. These fish will all be legal by then. See you, buddy. So I haven't found any trout yet in this bayou. Found a few reds. Nothing legal, unfortunately. Good Lord, look at the water coming out of this. Let's spotlight at y'all. Make as much noise as we possibly can. Nice prop wash. I don't know if you can see that water change. This water's pulling out of this Trenasse and it is just gorgeous. I feel like this bayou's not that dirty, but boy, when you see it right here, it sure does look dirty. I might chuck a bass bait in there. There's a little bit of depth in that Trenasse. I'm gonna throw a bass bait. There's a fish. There's a, oh, it's a bass. It's a nice bass. On a Z-craw. No, stay down, dude. All right, there we go. Yeah, I knew with that pretty water coming out of that Trenasse, there had to be some fish in here. That's a nice bass on a black light Z-craw. Love this bait. It's really not a very good, clean water bait, but it's what I had on. And conditions are so good. He didn't care, he ate it up. All right, let's see if he's got some buddies. Man, he thumped it too. Let me tell you, that was a hard hit. He definitely wanted it. This is a type of situation where you can literally catch 10 or 12 bass like that, all in one spot. It's just too nice. Or you could just get one. There he is, all right. Yep, another bass, right in the exact same spot. Oh, he's so pretty, so pretty. Come on, dude. All right. Now, are these big bass for an inland lake? No, but that's a nice marsh bass. And he stole my black light, but I got others. Black light Z-craw, 3/8 ounce tungsten bullet weight. There he is. Get out the grass. Get out the grass. Come on, dude. All right. He was not getting off. He was destined to take a boat ride. And look, if it hurts your feelings to see somebody keeping bass, don't worry about it. These bass are susceptible to being killed in storm surges. They don't necessarily live all that long. That's why they don't get all that big. There he is. What are you, a red? I think you're a red. Nope, nope, another bass. Another bass. He never came up at all. He acted like a redfish. And man, he fought hard. Harder than a 1 pound bass should. I switched temporarily to a black and purple speed craw because I only had 2 of these black light Z craws left. I couldn't get a bite on it. I just switched back and then I got this one. All right, it's possible I could sit right here and finish out my limit on bass, which is 10 here in South Louisiana. But I got some stuff to do today, so I think I'm gonna fish my way out of this bayou, see if I can catch anything else, and call it a day. So if you're a regular viewer of the Marsh Man Masson channel, you know that the bass fishing here in South Louisiana has not been that good for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. Our marshes are normally loaded with bass, but we had a lot of salty water over the past few months from various tropical events, also lots of east wind, and that really knocked the population back. So it's really good to see some bass in a bayou like this. Now believe me, once they spawn this spring, there'll be bass everywhere. As long as we don't have any more salt water push in. It doesn't take those fish very long, maybe 6 months or so through the Louisiana summer to get big enough to harvest. So by next fall, we should have some really good fishing. All right, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and the time has arrived to call this trip. I gotta get home, got a bunch of stuff planned for this coming week, and I gotta get ready for it. One thing is, I'm heading to Florida at the end of this week to fish over there, to take advantage of a big bull redfish run that they have this time of year.
So that should be entertaining. But by far the two hottest baits of the day is a Holy Jolly Matrix Shad on a Death Grip jig head. And I tell you what, this is a phenomenal bait in clean water. My son actually developed this bait. It's got blue, green, and silver glitter in a clear plastic bait. And I'll tell you, it's a terrible bait when waters are dirty. Like, this is not what you want to fish at all. But when you find clean, pretty water, you cannot find a better bait than this. It is just really the color I go to more often than any, particularly this time of year in the winter. And hey, I guess we're not technically in the winter, but water temperatures are pretty much at winter levels. Now, the other successful bait for the day was a black light Z-Craw. I really like this bait as well. The bad thing about this bait, of course, is you generally only get about one fish per bait. Sometimes you can get two, and that's about it. So you can run through them pretty quickly here in the marsh. All right, well, it's time for me to fly. Did you like the video? If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the Marsh Man Masson channel on YouTube. And until next time, if we don't see you in the marsh, and hopefully we do, we'll see you right here on Marsh Man Masson.